Hey there, Board Gamers, Justin here, and today we're going to check out some ACES. I'd like to welcome you guys back to the channel. If you're new here, please alpha strike that like, subscribe button, and if you're a tuning viewer, thank you so much for tuning in to continue to help support what I do. That said, I've been able to get a copy of Battletech ACES early. This particular one here is actually the one that was sent to me by a viewer from Germany. He was at the Spiel convention and was able to get me a copy. But the one you will see me open in a moment, which was filmed before the intro, is one I got from Amazon because it beat this here by like 2 days. So I would have had it about on time, but I missed the mail guy because I wasn't home. So that said, today we're going to be getting into the unboxing of this and checking out the components and the miniatures. We would not be diving into any of the rules. I don't have time off the cuff to dive into that. So I'm going to try and make this a multi-part series where I cover the components in today's video, and then in a future video we dive into the contents in terms of the rules, how it functions, how the new ACES rules function relative to the beta rules that they gave us way back when we backed the first Kickstarter. As well as maybe get into, hopefully, some of the campaign stuff, test the game, then run a campaign. And then it has been requested that I do a painting tutorial to cover the green and black Jade Falcons here on the front. And I think I might be able to tackle that, and it'd also be cool just to have the OPT4 here painted up to look like the box. So that said, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and flip this around, and I will show you guys what's in this box today. All right, guys, we're going to check out Battletech ACES today. So first and foremost, I would like to get out in front of this and say I'm not going to be going into a deep dive into rules, mechanics, and stuff with this one. I'm going to try and split the video and do one where I can talk about the rules and things without doing it as a first look, because I want to dig into it. So take everything I say here with a grain of salt, so to speak, because there'll be hopefully a follow-up video where I break down the rules and stuff and maybe do some games, hopefully do some games. But this one, again, it's going to be more of a first glance. What do I think of the minis, the sculpts, the components, not necessarily the gameplay. If you've watched any of my videos over the years, when I first started doing some of the ACES for the beta stuff from the Kickstarter, I was very excited. So I think this is only going to expand upon that and be better than what we had for the beta rules that they provided to the backers to try. So I think that if I was a betting man, I would assume that my opinion of the actual gameplay is probably going to be pretty good. So that said, we'll get into this box. It is pretty heavy. I think it's pushing 6 pounds. So, and MSRP I think was 80. They did a smart job by not having MSRP listed on the box because the prices are subject to change, you know, as they update stuff. So that said, I think it was 80. It might have been a little bit less. So we'll go ahead and pop this bad boy open, and we'll check out some of the components and see what I think. Like I said, already pretty excited about ACES. I wish this stuff had been out way sooner. So we've got a rule book here, and I noticed it says designed by Lavender Studios, so I'm assuming that is the company that is developing the ACES content. Do a quick look through here. Okay. Yeah, so basic rules for doing ACES. I'm assuming this is going to cover everything you're going to need for the cards and how to manage the AI portion in conjunction with the Alpha Strike rules is what I would imagine. So, but we'll see. I'll be able to dig through this at some point, and we'll see how this goes. It's a lot more comprehensive than the rules we got for the beta, obviously, because this is quite a few pages at this point. So, all right, so this looks like the core portion of the rules, and this looks like the campaign stuff. So how to do that, so very cool. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about seeing where this stuff goes. Again, we're just kind of flipping through the pages. I've got a pretty good opinion about how this is going to go. I do wish that, you know, considering you've got this little roster here, it would be really nice if there was some digital components for this online that you could print out, and there might be. It might be something that they put up, or if they haven't already, they might in the future. We'll see. Oh, that's pretty nice too. Nice little quick reference thing on the back here. That's a pretty good idea. So nice. And I'm assuming this is going to correspond with some tokens and stuff. So we'll see how that goes. We've got some what looks like terrain. Always a big fan of this stuff. Looks like we're getting some organic hills and so forth. So pretty nice there. So we'll get that out of the way. Okay. All right. So we've got... Let's see here. In our box, we have got, looks like 9 minis. I think these are supposed to be clanners. Jade Falcon on the front of the box. A little bit disappointed that there wasn't 15 minis in here. Not 15, yeah, 15. So a full trinary. I get that it would cost more. I would have paid more. If this is going to be the op for a campaign, it'd be nice to have more variety, but maybe the expansions will solve that. I don't know. I'm not sure how they determined 9 minis was the way to go when generally you have like a star plus something. But maybe, and again, this might be covered in the campaign, so I'm not going to scrutinize too much on this or be overly critical, but perhaps there's a core like star, and maybe these are elements you add on and it's a small amount. Who knows? I haven't been into that yet. But I do know when I build forces for my when I select models for my forces, I usually will start with like 15 for Clanner, so full trinary, which ends up typically being 10 mechs and 5 battle armor. That's usually what I'm doing. Obviously, you've got some vehicles here, which I think is a good idea. And if I'm doing Intersphere, I usually do 12, so full company. So I'm not sure how they got to the number here, but maybe the campaign will explain that. So before we get into the minis, we're going to check out components and stuff here and take a quick gander at everything we've got. So check this timestamps if I can remember to get that in and skip to the minis. We'll do that part probably last, so it might be towards the end of the video. But I want to get through these components first because the minis is what we usually do, so we know what we're going to expect there. It looks like we've got a sprue for components here. And let's see which mech that probably goes on. Okay, so those look like they are the top of the rifleman down here. So these parts go with him. So, all right, get our cards out here. And let's take a quick peek at what we've got card-wise. And even moving that, there's still a lot of weight heft in that box. So let's pop this bad boy open. All right, so this looks like these are going to be our decks of AI cards, at least a good chunk. I can see up to at least around here is probably where they're going to be. And then we've got some special orders here. So let's see. Got those. All right, so some specialties. I bet these are one-shot type things that you can use to do stuff. Let's do a quick peek at the edge. Before rolling to attack a target in its rear arc, spend 1 edge to increase your damage rating by 1 in addition to this bonus. 1 damage for attack. Yeah, okay. So yeah, these are like one-shot things you use or abilities that you get to activate. So that is pretty cool. See how that goes. I hope they put out more card packs for this. I know I saw some posts online saying that that was something that might be on the table. I think expanding this is just a smart move. So let me zoom in tight and I'll do a quick flip through here. So if you're interested in seeing the edge cards, perhaps you can pause as desired here. So, and I'll flip them over this way. So when we get to the final one, we'll know to move. So we got Assassin, Forward Observer, Marksman Attack, so Jumping Jack, Patient Attack, Cautious Defensive card, Protector. Looks like we got 12 total. Coolant Flush. Oh, nice. Spin up to, so yeah, it's nice, lowering your heat. Bulwark. Melee Specialist. Nimble. Artwork on these is pretty nice too. Speed Demon. And that's it for that. So a lot of these sound like they're using the same words for the special pilot abilities from the core rulebook, but they've put it in some kind of one use or resource managed type of cards. So we've got these special orders. We'll go through those. So these look like, do they cost something? I don't know. We won't get too deep into that because I won't know unless we read them, but unless I read the rules. But we'll go ahead and go through this. So we got Force Withdraw, Fleeing, Movement Objective, Destroy Objective, and Indirect Attacks. So that's our special orders. Okay. And then we've got a variety of cards here that appear to be, these look like they're double-sided. Okay. Huh. So in the old one, you would shuffle these, and that would determine what you're doing. Which makes it a little bit weird to shuffle if you kind of can see what's coming, because they're double-sided. So I assume... Okay, I'll have to look again. I don't want to get too deep into this because I'm trying to make assumptions without reading the rules. So we've got some scout cards here. So yeah, these look a bit more complicated than the ones we got in the preview or the beta rules from the Kickstarter. So we'll have to read through and see how these function. I assume the core will be similar to what we got in the Kickstarter, but they're double-sided for a reason, whereas they did not used to be. So we got so we got brawler cards. I just moved through, so brawler and striker. So one of the issues we had with the other ones was we felt like we didn't have enough cards for variety. So perhaps this will fix some of that. So we got 6 brawler cards rather that are double-sided. So it looks like, okay, so it looks like these are double-sided for a reason. So it looks like movement, you're going to do this, and then you probably flip it for combat to tell you what it's doing. That, or maybe you're shuffling. And again, I'm making assumptions without reading. We're just seeing, when we get to that, we'll see how close I was. Perhaps you're shuffling, determining movement, and then in combat, either you flip the card and it tells you what to do, or perhaps you reshuffle and then draw and you flip and then do that combat, which would give you a good variety, honestly, so that every time you pull this movement, it's not always tethered to this combat. Maybe it's random every time. So we'll see how that shakes out when we get to the actual rules. So we've got the striker cards, and same concept, movement and combat. So I don't think there's much of a reason to show all of these, because if we're not reading the rules at the same time, it won't matter. So we'll try and get out a video where we're covering more of that later. But I like that we have what looks like more of the unit types than we used to. Okay, so they even differentiated too. We've got units with jumps and units without, so that's nice. That was always a problem. This is going to be for vehicles. There's always a problem with the previous one, is like it telling units to jump that didn't have jump, and then telling units to that had jump never did jump because the card didn't tell them to do it or whatever. So nice that there's variety here. And it looks like we've got some pilots here, probably special types of pilots that do things. So generic star captain, looks like the portrait is the same for the most part on that guy. Either it makes him different, shuffles and, oh, okay, maybe this is telling him what things to do with those cards. We'll see. We'll see. It feels like they've elaborated and made this a bit more complex than the original iteration that we got in the beta rules, which I don't hate. I think that is pretty cool. So put that back in. We'll check out the unit. Actually, we'll put these with the minis, because I usually do these when we check out the minis. So let's check out the other cards we've got here. All right, so yeah, so this I would definitely say get some double-sided cards so that you can write on them. This would really benefit from a master unit list PDF or fillable form on the MUL, being able to make these and print them out so that you aren't writing on these cards. But for sure, I would get a dry erase marker probably and use this, or even a permanent marker and sleeve it. That way you can throw these away, or throw the sleeves away and reuse them. So, but yeah, just a bunch of different cards with different pilot portraits. You could probably make some custom ones. I could probably scan these up and change that out for like patron pictures or something like that if we wanted to do a campaign with this, which I think would be cool. Yeah, pretty neat. Yeah, I think this would benefit from a digital fillable PDF, so people can just print out their own or make customs, especially if you're doing a campaign. If you're playing right out of the box, I think these are good, especially treating them like a board game, kind of like some of the old legacy games, like Risk Legacy, for example. I think that makes sense, but being able to customize your guy here, I think is just going to get people more jazzed, right? Because it feels like them. So let's go ahead and take a look at the rest of the components here before we get to the end with the minis. So we've got a Alpha Strike rules reference. Can never have too many of these on hand. Also, it's mentioning some ACES, which is good. So this ought to cover things for generic gameplay as well. So not bad. And then, yeah, so we got these force rosters again. If this isn't already up on their website, these should be definitely printable PDFs, in my opinion. That way you can play this or do as many campaigns as you want. We've got some punch outs. So, okay. We won't know what these are until we get through the actual game. But I like having little tokens and stuff, so that makes sense. Okay. Okay, so I'm a big fan of this stuff. For anyone who's been following the channel, I think we needed more Alpha Strike products sooner, and I'm glad that we're getting them. But this looks like it's going to pair pretty nicely with that Alpha Strike tokens pack that has some of the terrain. So very nice. And then the flat water in particular is really, really good. And we got 2 sheets of this. Is it double-sided? Oh, hell yeah. So we've got water, and then we've got a ravine. So this is probably, I assume this is probably maybe depth 2 in terms of line of sight. This is probably treated as depth 1 for water. But like, or maybe even this is depth 1, and it doesn't give you the cooling, but perhaps you treat it as something you walk through and you get cover when someone shoots at you, or the penalty for being obscured, whatever. So lots of options there. That's really cool. I like that. I have a second copy of this box coming. A supporter from Instagram hit me up from Germany, from Spiel, and he sent me a copy, and it did not beat Amazon. I actually missed the shipment. It came in, as of filming this, it came in yesterday, and I wasn't home to sign, so I'm hopefully picking it up tomorrow. So I'll have a second copy, which means I'm going to have double of all of the water, which is really cool. So it looks like we've got some hex models here. So elementals, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the 5 additional models. Another hover arc, so 6, 7 hover, 8. So 8 more models, plus the 9 we had. That puts us at, what, 17 units possible. Not bad. Not as jazzed about the emplacements, I could care less, but for campaign play, if you're running AI or whatever and you don't have the minis, it's really nice. The elementals are here and the hovers, and you can swap those out for minis. This is a case where perhaps that keeps the value down. I still think it would have been nice to have numbers of 5 because you play clans. So even just bumping it up to 10 so you get the 2 stars of stuff, I think would have felt better for the thematics of Battletech with the clanners. And that's not a hill I'm going to die on, though. I think in this case, these are actually useful because this feels more like a self-contained board game that can be used with Alpha Strike, expanded with Alpha Strike. But for a new player, just buying this to play, especially alongside the Alpha Strike box, is probably pretty good. So I don't hate that. Again, just wish there was at least one more mini in the box. I would have paid a few more dollars for that. And like that is 3 sheets already of water and punch outs that are double-sided. So I'm digging that. This is cool. This is very cool. And then we've got the stuff to build what appears to be a bridge. So digging that. And then here's something that is new. We've got this spiral bound book. I like that. It lays flat. So now, do I prefer hardback for most stuff? Yes. For a campaign system like this, where you're probably referencing this a lot, I think this is actually a pretty smart idea, if I'm honest. So again, we're just going to flip through and take some peeks here. I'm not going to dive into the rules. So, okay, so it's letting you know stuff that comes from the ACES set card-wise. Okay. Got a tutorial here. So guided tutorial to walk you through how to run it. I dig that. We've got, okay, so it's going to explain our cards. That's good, 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 good. That's got a Timberwolf on there. That was not in the box. Oh no, I'm dumb. I can't read. Did I just, I literally just like read something and read Timberwolf, but there wasn't a Timberwolf. I don't know where I read that. Okay, well, moving on. A little dyslexia there for me. All right, so we've got more training sims, special rules. Okay. To play as Sortie, don't forget about the edge ability cards and default edge abilities of your 2 units. You can find this list on the default edge. Okay, yeah, so it's going to explain how to use the edge. So I dig that. Very cool. I appreciate that this is giving you some ways to play, to learn, and telling you what to do. It's also giving you some almost role play stuff, which I think is really, really nice too. So this almost might benefit from having a GM who's running the AI for you. So we've got our campaign introduction here. So it's going to walk through some of that, which is nice. Terrain, defining terrain. So here we are. It's going to define this is from ACES, this is from Alpha Strike. So this is meant to be played alongside Alpha Strike. And guess who bought a Alpha Strike box set to go with this to start doing some more content? So good. So it's explaining woods. I did a video when we open up the ACES box set. Make a template. Don't draw the triangle mess, because then that just creates you and your opponent having questions about what is and what isn't. And I know this is cooperative and meant to be more casual. Real easy for you to just make a template. Even if you get some green felt or a green piece of craft paper, cut it out for the shape you want, throw some trees on it. It's gonna do you a lot better. Heck, even just getting a piece of paper and drawing a circle and cutting it out and placing those trees from the Alpha Strike box is going to do you just fine, if you're fine with the flat stuff. But you get all the buildings in here, which is really good, I think. And if you want to get some physical buildings, check out deathdesigns.com. We've got some good stuff over there. But I think that's really good. I've gotten 2 sets of this because I wanted a variety, so that's nice. And then I'm glad I'm going to have 2 sets of all of this stuff too. So we've got additional rules here they're covering. Okay. Okay, so this one for the special ammo is telling you in a sortie if you get to use it or not. That's really good because this stuff is super broken in Alpha Strike proper. So if it's limited use stuff or it's handled in a more balanced way in ACES, I think it's going to be a fun way to use those rules, because I wish some of these more advanced rules were useful in Alpha Strike, but they're very unbalanced. So for most players who are just doing pickup games, this either really skews it, or if you're playing competitive, it really skews it. So a lot of people just don't use them. So or you see the same ones used over and over. So. Okay, so it's it's listing new different subtypes in here that we've got listed on the side, which were not in the original decks that they brought out, the beta ones. So we've got Scout, Hover Striker, Skirmisher for the different types there. That's pretty good. All right. Okay, so it's listing units that are usable here. We definitely won't have all of those, but yeah, so if you're playing a campaign, this is giving you costs for purchasing models. Not too bad. Definitely means you're going to have access to some miniatures. But you could probably makeshift something if you want to use different minis and figure that out. Let's see what they even have on here. Interesting, they don't even have a Mad Cat on here. I would have figured that would have been there. Oh, neither here nor there. Let's move on. Maybe this is using, because I don't remember the Jade Phoenix. I was going to say it would make sense if this is using this new box and the Alpha Strike box, and that was only listing those as available, but that doesn't appear to be the case. Maybe they're planning for a Jade Falcon expansion or something and have some of these, so who knows? I don't know. I own most of those minis, though, if not all of them. All right, so going through the campaign stuff, different missions and so forth. So we're not going to go through too much of this, flip through. We're not going to go in depth, just let you guys see some pages while I ramble, see if anything pops up that makes me want to take a pause and read or just showcase something. Yeah, I did get a comment on YouTube asking if I was going to do a painting tutorial on how to do the Jade Falcons on the cover of this right here. And they look kind of like a lime green with black, so we might see if we can tackle something for that, and maybe grab a couple extra minis to go in with our Jade Falcon forces for the OP4 from this box, because I've definitely got some extra minis laying around, and for sure from this box, the Jade Phoenix. That's what that one was. We definitely want that one to be in there with our Jade Falcon bros. All right, so we got quite a few different missions, which I dig that. Let's see. Okay, so different waypoint stuff. Again, this will make more sense when we're going through a campaign. So this feels pretty in-depth. Feels almost like we got a role-playing game almost. I'm not hating that. And then, let's see, get into the epilogue. So I guess it's telling you like what you did through the campaign. It's going to tell you how the ending was. So very cool. First glance at this, I think it's going to be a little bit of reading up front to understand how it works, but going through the tutorial stuff to learn it, I think is going to be a stellar way to play. I think this is a thing, we need more of it. There's so much 1v1 gaming content out there for tabletop wargaming, more collaborative, AI-driven stuff, or just ways to have a GM, almost like a role-playing game, I think is the way to go. It's going to get more people involved, and people aren't going to have as many feelsy-badsy moments. You're playing together. We're trying to forge an experience. So I think this is great. I hope they dive more into it and worry less about competitive play. And that's coming from someone who runs one of the larger Battletech Alpha Strike tournaments, being at Northern Assault. That's me, I can run that. While I love it and I like facilitating that for the community, with me trying to set up the scenarios for that in the event packets, it's always about trying to balance it, and it's a struggle sometimes. And I don't know if the parent company is going to also do any better tackling that, but I think for getting casuals in who don't do tournaments, this is a great product. Make more stuff like this. And then if you struggle to balance the competitive side of the game, the TOs are trying to do that anyway. Let them do that for a little while, start growing the community, and once this starts to get legs and move, then you can start worrying more about trying to balance the game, which it sounds like going in next year they're going to be doing some testing for 2.0 Alpha Strike, which I think is great, but I hope they push more on this. I think this is great. I initially was kind of worried I wasn't going to like the Spowerbound, but honestly, like I knew going in that my opinion had changed from what it was when I first saw the previews of this. I think this laying flat is good. It just makes sense for trying to reference for campaigns, so I think that's a great value and a step up from some of the other stuff we've got. So I dig that, and for anyone else who doesn't care as much about this stuff, you're probably waiting to see some minis. So let's go ahead and get these components back in the box here, and then we will check out the minis. So go ahead and pull these bros over. All right, so let's grab our minis cards that I said that I would pop open. Oops, I just X-Acto bladed over one of the cards. I literally just sheared that corner right off. Good job, Justin. That's okay. I have a second set of these coming anyway. It's not the end of the world. That's what happens when your perspective viewing with your eyeballs, looking at the camera reference image, and this is not great. So don't cut yourself when you're opening stuff, folks. So let's go ahead and see what we've got here. If I need to sort. All right, so we're definitely going to do some sorting because we've got campaign elements here. Okay. We are not going to go through these. So these are ones for optional rules for using these in Classic, if I recall. These are the Classic cards. So this is the Battlefield support. That adds nice value to this box for anyone who picks it up wanting it for ACES and just for the minis, because honestly, like, I'm really excited about this guy. It's one of my favorite Omni-Mechs. But if you pick it up and you skew more Classic, but you want to dabble in some Alpha Strike and get those minis, at least you get something in here that is for you, whereas a lot of those other boxes that skew Classic give a little bit of something for Alpha Strike. It's nice that it's going both ways, so kind of cross-pollinating there, which makes a lot of sense to me. So that said, let's go through these really quickly. Get a little zoom in, get these out of the way. So we've got unit cards, which I think this is the first elemental cards we're getting, but these are for the punch-outs, not actual physical minis that we got in the box here. So we have got Elemental Squad with Gauss. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, so 5. So we've got our star of them, or point, whatever the term is. And if you flip them over, we've got, I think, standard infantry on the other side. And they're all energy, and it says advanced. So 11 points, foot, 0 TMM. They'd get, I guess they don't even get +1 for being infantry because they're not battle armor. Anti-mech, and then carry 3. So nifty to have. Nice that we're finally getting these. And then 21 points for these, TMM1, 6J. They're battle armor, so they're sporting +1 anytime you shoot at them anyway. And you should always be jumping because they ignore the penalty for jumping. So you would jump, get your +1 TMM. Their TMM is 1, +1 for being battle armor, so +3 all the time. Anti-mech, care 5, and mechanized. So not too bad. So not going to dive too deep into that one because they're just battle armor. We've also got our light gun emplacements. These look like, so we got 4 AC2s, and then 3 AC20 gun emplacements. So check out the points on that. And these should go down pretty easy. It's listed as immobile, and immobile units, if I recall, are -4 to hit, so pretty easy to hit them. And yeah, I think that this is, again, to be there kind of like you're playing a video game. These are, defenses that you're going to have to fight. And then we've got medium emplacement on the backs here, AC5s, so yeah. And then it says 2X, so I wonder if that represents 2 on the table. I don't know. We'll have to look. It probably just means 1, and it's just saying whatever for other stuff. This is also for punch-outs, so we've got heavy hover APCs, so transport your infantry. And then more gun emplacements. So nice little value for you having Alpha Strike cards to be able to run the elements that are provided in here for you. Now we do have the Fulcrum heavy hover tanks here. We've got 2 cards for that. So this one's coming in, usable in the Clan Invasion through the Ill Clan, 42 points. TMM4, 20 movement for hover, ECM and direct fire, search, tag, turret, and 221 for damage. It's a pretty expensive model. However, not too far off our baseline, and that TMM is absolutely insane. 4 TMM is going to be really hard to hit. We flip over here at 6 points more, usable in all the same eras. We're going up 1 point in damage, still TMM 4, 20 movement, ECM 1, or excuse me, ECM IF1, search, tag, turret. So yeah, if you got the points, that upgrade, 3 points of damage while you're scurrying around with TMM 4 is absolutely brutal. Brutal. So, and then the minis for that, we have 2 of them in our box set here. So let's see, take a little quick peek at this. Let me see if I can get my camera to be a little bit more, there we go, focused on here. All right, so details look reasonably crisp on the top. Gets a little shallow here, a little bit of a mold line. And obviously they're trying to hide it across the edge, which is a smart place to put that. And not too bad. And then the turret here, does that move? It does indeed move. Does it pop off? You probably could wrench that off. Let's see if I can do that without breaking anything. Yep, pretty pretty good. So if you want to paint this in subparts, which makes sense because you would spray this and paint this, otherwise you're going to have to be moving this around to get under here. So that's pretty good. Your mileage may vary on that. I don't know how easy it's going to be to pop those off and on. So I'm excited to get more vehicles, and because I got 2 of these boxes, or at least the second box coming, I'll have a 4-pack or 4 of these, and I usually try and get 2 to 4 of most support units like this, so I have them for variety. So I dig that. Next up, we've got the Locust that I sheared off the corner. Coming in at 42 points for Locust 2C, usable in the, in the Succession Wars through the Ill Clan. So the 2C predating the clan invasion. Interesting. I'm sure there's reasons for that. 3 TMM, 16 move, 550 for damage, E&E, 3 armor, 2 structure. Glass cannon, if you hit him, he's going to go down, but a little bit more survivable than a Fire Moth or a standard Locust, while sporting good TMM and damage. Its movement's not quite what a Fire Moth is, so it's going to struggle to get behind some stuff, but utilizing cover and your obscurity to maximize not getting hit while throwing out 5 damage is pretty brutal. So let's flip this over, coming in at 20 points less, or not 20, what is that? I can't do math. 20, 14 points, is that right? 36. 14, or 26 plus 14 is 40, so 16 points less. There we go. I can do math. Usable in the Succession Wars through the Ill Clan. 3 TMM, 16 move, 510 for damage, 3 for armor, 2 for structure, E&E. Yeah, so you're really paying a boatload for that +4 at medium, which is not bad. Honestly, with a Locust, you could go either way with what you're trying to do. Its movement's not stellar relative to some of the other lights that are backstabbers. So you might be wanting to run the higher, more expensive one so that you can skirt at medium range with your 3 TMM plus 2 to be hit at medium range plus their skills. Just to put him out there as just an annoying little shooter guy. But knowing that if he gets hit, he's going to go down. If you want to be more of a backstabber, you can run shave off some points here and run this bro. Kind of your mileage might vary. I'm kind of inclined to want to run this one and see where it goes. Still kind of bummed I shaved the corner off there. But yeah, let me know if you try one of those, which variant you like. Let's go ahead and grab the Mini. Take a quick peek here. I'll try and get my camera to autofocus on the Mini and not my fingers. All right, now try and keep eye. Nope, there it is. It autofocuses grabbing the mat, so let's turn it off. Okay. Why, camera, do you do this to me? Just focus on the Mini, please. All right, so I'm trying to keep that in focus. So right out the gate, I really like these lasers. They're a little soft, but I still think that the profile is pretty cool. The legs look pretty decent. The side profile is relatively sharp, which is nice. Gets a little soft right in here. I like the canopy size, which is nice. And now my autofocus is grabbing the mat again. Ugh, it's so annoying. So annoying. It's drifting again. Why are you drifting? Why you do this to me? All right, autofocus, just turn off. Get out of here. You're killing me. All right, so we'll try and hopefully have this guy in focus so you guys can see him. Got a nasty mold line that goes across the front here. Probably cleaned up reasonably easy, hopefully. Again, sharp details on the side, which is nice. And the rear gets a little soft back here. I'm a little bit more forgiving on the rear of a Mini because you're not going to be looking at it quite as much. But you can see like this is got a little slippage, but still sharp relative to here, which is kind of getting a little bit soft. And then we've got some subtractive parts we're going to have to go here if you want to clean up the model. It's where it was like snipped from a sprue when it came out of the mold. So yeah, not too bad. I like the sharpness of this piece, and looks like I see what appears to be a line here and some glue, so I suspect that gun was a separate part that was glued down, so which would explain why its detail is so crisp. So big fan of Locust though. Can never have too many lights, and that's a good way to supplement your force, so having more lights is always a good thing. So next up, we've got the Howler, the Baboon, coming at 23 points, usable in the Dark Age and Ill Clan era only. Team M3, 14 move, 220 for damage, 2 armor, 2 structure, case 2, SRM 2, and turret. Interestingly, it's got turret. I guess this right here maybe turns. It's like SRMs maybe turning. And coming in at 3 points less, usable in the was that Civil War? Yeah, Civil War through or no. That's Civil War. Succession Wars is the first one. I think I messed that up earlier. Succession Wars through Ill Clan. Team M3, movement 14, so same movement. 111 for damage, 22 for armor and structure, respectively. Case and IF. honestly, for 3 points more, I think I'd be more inclined to pay for this one. Get the bonus damage at short and medium, which you're going to be using more frequently than the long range, in my opinion. I'd rather be consistently throwing 2 dice a turn than maybe leveraging 1 turn of rolling long range and then spending most of my turns probably sitting around medium and then not getting to actually fire or maximize, or not getting to utilize this long range. Why have it if you're going to spend more of your turns rolling here? This is going to output more dice over the game. So that's where I would go personally. So let's check out our little mini burrow here. And I will attempt to get us a little bit of focus on this guy as well and see, okay, autofocus automatically turned itself off. Why you do this to me? All right, I have no idea what it's doing. So taking a quick peek here. The missiles, assuming these are SRMs, those holes look pretty sharp. I'm gonna zoom out just a smidge. I feel like in the past when I've been tight on the Mini, if it has given me trouble with focusing, it often comes up if I'm super tight. So we will stay zoomed out a smidge here. Arms look pretty decent. Hand gets a little soft right in here, not the end of the world. Side of the leg looks pretty all right. Back here gets really soft on the edge of that. It's getting really smoothed out. And let's see. Yeah, right in here, we're getting pretty shallow, which is rough, and autofocus is grabbing my hand instead of the Mini. Sorry. So yeah, not the end of the world, but that's kind of shallow. The cockpit area here looks pretty nifty. We got a nice little recess here so you can catch a wash or know like the separation between cockpit and the border there. So I'll dig that. Vents here look on his left, or his right, our left, those look okay. His right, or his left side, our right side, those vents are kind of janky. Mold line going across the front, not great. Legs look all right. On this side too, actually his right leg looks a bit better than the left leg. Left leg gets very soft right around this edge. This one maintains better fidelity right in here. And then his right arm appears to be a little bit sharper than the left. Gets a little soft right here. These still feel pretty sharp. So I dig that. A little bit of a mold line on the side of the mech there. That one's probably not too bad to clean up either. Back of the legs look pretty solid, and actually the back of the mech's not too bad. We got a little subtractive nubbin here we're gonna have to remove from like a spruing. So not the end of the world, kind of a bad place to put it. And then top down, this looks pretty sharp right in here. So all in all, not too bad, not too bad. So next up, we've got our Rifleman. So this is the C2 variant coming at 45 points. This one is usable in the Dark Age and Ill Clan Team M2, 12 movement, 18J, 332 for damage, OV1, 6 armor, 3 structure, jump jet strong. Not a bad mech, very Clan Jade Falcon of them with the strong jump jets. I'm digging the TMM2. Riflemen are notoriously pretty easy to hit. So get them TMM2 and then hoping to jump, and then maybe utilizing some of the special abilities for ACES to maybe counteract that makes some sense to me. So definitely cool. Let's see what the other side is. So this one's coming at 7 points cheaper, usable in the Ill Clan or Dark Age and Ill Clan only as well. Team M1, 8 moves. So you're giving up 4 movement standard and then 10 of your jump, like our 18 jump period's gone. 444 for damage, OV1, 6 armor, 5 structure. So you're going up by 2 structure here. You're losing your jump jets, and then your damage is going up a little bit. If you got the points for 7-point difference, swing this one. +1 TMM, and then having the movement options is going to outweigh the other one. You're losing a little bit of structure, but you're gaining jump strong. You still got OV, so you can kind of compete for the damage, but this guy's going to be alive longer because he can move more. He's got a higher TMM, he has jump, and if he's jumping, that's TMM 4 effectively with strong jump jets. If you're skirting at medium range, it's going to be a +4 for your TMM, +2 for medium range, so effectively +6, plus their skills. And if they're running an average skill, that tends to hit this guy, which is brutal. That's pretty solid. And then if you're able to get yourself into cover or obscurity, you're looking at 11s. And depending on what you put this guy's skill at or what bonuses you get from Alpha Strike or from the ACES, this guy might be a nice little a brutal mech to deal with. So as I showed earlier, his fins are separate pieces, and those are one of the occurrences where we've gotten a sprue. And those look pretty reasonably sharp. I don't want to cut those off until it's time to actually start working on the Mini, which I don't know when that will be. Whoops. But I want to leave those intact for now. I don't want to lose them. So we'll take a quick peek at our Mini here. Legs here feel, these legs and the side of the gun feel pretty sharp. I've got a slight slippage on the mold here where those lines don't line up perfect. Not the end of the world. Nice sharp mold lines here on top of the cockpit. And there's a little bit of a mold line that goes across his front glass, not the end of the world. Details in the sides of the canopy here, or sides of the torso here, getting a little shallow. Nice and sharp panel lines here in his hip area. His legs both look reasonably sharp. This leg's got a little mold line going on, and the knee kind of cocks in a little bit weird. Because like this knee's showing a piston, and this one isn't, which is kind of weird. Like right in here, this detail's getting a little bit odd looking. Like something got messed up right here, like slippage or something. Jump jets in the back here, and plenty of them. That's really neat. This guy's got 9 jump jets in the back of him, which is solid. Explains the jump jet strong and why he's got so far that he can rocket himself. Not too bad back here. I'm not seeing a lot of too soft details on the bottom side of the rear. The armor panels here all across the back are getting a little bit shallow. Not quite as sharp, losing some of the fidelity there. Not going to be looking at it as much, but when it's from the top, those ones bother me because those are the ones that you will see more so than the stuff on the underside, which is frustrating because these jump jets look great, and you won't see them quite as much as you'll see this. So, yeah. The gun barrels, though, look pretty decent. Standard mold line fares you'll have to clean up, but not a bad looking Mini. I'm a big sucker for a rifleman, and one with the jump jets and the gear is pretty solid. So, not a bad little mech. Well, I'll say little mech, not a bad heavy mech. Let's go ahead and check out our summoner here, a 4. We're coming in at 43 points, usable in the clan evasion through the ill clan. Team M2, 10J, 550 for damage. We got 6 armor, 4 structure, AMS case Omni. AMS is pretty solid. IF, SRM, LRM is pretty common, so this guy being able to reduce some damage while sporting Team M2 with a 10 movement and J to potentially push that to a Team M3 is pretty solid. Coming at 3 points less. This one's usable in the Succession Wars through the Ill Clan. Team M2, 10J, 343 for damage, 6 armor, 4 structure, no AMS. It's got the case in the Omni. So you're paying 3 points more for a 550 versus a 343. If do you want this guy to be a sniper, which literally is his role, and this one is a skirmisher, I personally lean towards more medium range damage because that's where a lot of your combat's going to be. But this one's not losing too much. But if you want to have him skirt more at long range for fighting, for snipering, moving into medium range when necessary, might not be too bad. But honestly, for 3 points more, if you know you're going to be consistently at medium range a lot of the time, just rock that guy. But 5 damage at medium is pretty solid. So we'll check this guy out. One of the things right out the gate I really like is that they have the AMS actually modeled on the Mini. That's this part right here, which is cool. It has replaced his like hunch, with for lack of a better term, his rocket pods that the standard variant has. So the cockpit area looks all right. Reasonably sharp down in there. Recesses for getting your wash in. Mold line coming across the arm here, and we're losing some of the fidelity on the armor panels on his chest. The top looks okay. As you come across the front, it gets really, really soft right in here. Same thing across this side, unfortunately. Legs here, this one looks pretty decent on the side. Gets a little soft on that detail, but you can still see the line. The knee right here gets soft. You're losing panel lines, or the edges rather. They just get super soft and lost. Got a weird like gash right here. That was not for me, that's odd. Side of this leg, similar to the other one, not terrible. Side of the gun's not bad. The fronts of the guns aren't too bad. You can get in there and get your jeweling. That looks good. The balls on those arms look pretty solid as well. And then the rear, the underside of these panels on this side just get soft and completely washed out. Super, super soft. Not like they're supposed to be hard. Like there's supposed to be a panel right here that you would edge highlight, right? And it's just, you barely see it. It's completely washed out and soft. Same thing right down here. And then that panel line, or that mold line, goes all the way across the detail there, and then right through here. This right here, the center of the rear is not too bad. Those vents are mostly preserved. And then right back here at the top, pretty sharp. Back of his legs actually look pretty good. Jump jet areas look pretty good. So not too bad. Anything I'm saying about the mold lines is pretty standard fare. Mostly stuff you guys are familiar with already from CGL's plastics. So moving on, we've got the Thunderbolt 2C. The Thunderbolt is one of my favorite mechs as well. This is the 2C variant. This one's usable in the Dark Age and the Ill Clan, coming in at 48 points. Team M2, 10 movement, 552 for damage, OV2, 9 armor, 4 structure, case 2. What a beast. What a beast. Lots of damage. Good TMM for a heavy. The clanners get all the good shit. That's just the way it is. That TMM on those heavies. Team M2 is huge, and on a heavy, that's like the medium mechs for Inner Sphere, in my opinion, are super good. There's good medium mechs for clan tech as well, but clans outshine, in my opinion, Inner Sphere in the heavy department because they have so many good heavy mechs with good movement, good damage, and good TMM, whereas the Inner Sphere mechs generally are sacrificing TMM, bringing it down to a 1. They make up for it usually right here in their armor and structure, but point for point across a game, I think when you're trying to stack mods, that TMM usually makes up for it for having less right here if you don't get hit. You don't want to be too much of a glass cannon, but if you're super easy to hit, just a couple of turns and the battle's done for you. So I really like the heavies for clan tech, and then for Inner Sphere, I like the really cheap, tanky, high TMM mediums. So we're coming into the other variant at 5 points less. This one's usable in the Dark Age No Clan as well. TMM 1, 8J. To get that TMM 2, you're having to jump. Don't like that. 442 for damage. OV2, so it can spike damage. This one's got 7 armor, 6 structure, case, and ECM. ECM could be useful. So he's a little bit tankier than this guy. Bio looks like, what, 1 point? No, 2 points of structure. And this one's got OV2, which I missed. So maximum out at 7 damage, maximum out at 6. This one doesn't have jump jets, but he does have a 10 move. This one has jump jets, which pushes him to the TMM of 2 with the jumps. Honestly, if you got the points, I'd go with this one. More movement, higher damage, OVing for more damage than the other guy, and consistently getting that TMM 2 without sacrificing its ability to hit. So really like that one. I'll go ahead and check out the mini here. So coming in, cockpit gets a little soft right here and here. The pips here for the rockets above his head are pretty solid, easy to see. Lasers here look good. Front of his torso is pretty solid, actually. Nice and sharp right there, too. Just get a little soft on his cockpit. The top of his rocket pod is actually pretty well washed out, which is frustrating. Oh, and we've got some goop on. What the hell is this shit? Like, what? Okay. Do I got a paper towel in here? Oh, boy. That's gross. Whatever that was from the factory is nasty. I assume that is probably some form of mold release, would be my guess. Or food. Yeah, I don't know what that is. That's gross. Yeah, it's nasty. Got some guy over there at Laya who's eating chocolates while they're building my mini. Or packing products. Gross. So yeah, as I was saying before I found the weird goop, this completely washed out. This is not sharp at all. It's completely rounded through here, which normally you would see where the panels would be. It's not sharp at all. Super rounded right through here as well. And then you're losing detail. And the card doesn't show it from the top. Does that box actually show? No, you can't see it. But there would be panels here where there's angles, and you get something kind of sharp here, and then boom, it's just soft and washed, completely smoothed over. Yeah, that's poop. That's bad. That's really terrible right through here, and that's a very prominent part of the mini. You're going to be looking, when you're playing the game, you'll be looking top down a lot. So I'm more forgiving on the undersides where it's very often soft, which is odd because on the undersides here it's sharp as shit. It's very sharp. Those details look very clean. And then you rotate him over and you look at this abomination, and the top of his rocket pod here is just abysmal. That is bad. Moving on to the legs here. Pretty rough mold slippage here. You can see where this inset here, you can see where that slip is, and it's supposed to be straight. And then if we can rotate and see down here, it doesn't do that right there. So like that's pretty rough. That's a pretty rough slip. We've got subtractive mold stuff here. We're going to have to clear those nubbins. Not the end of the world. More slippage on the rear here. Detail completely occluded here where the mold just wasn't very good. Like there's supposed to be a recess here, and it's basically gone. You can see on this side where there's a recess, and where it's completely gone. Back of legs are pretty reasonable. Side of the legs right down here pretty sharp. Front of the legs, that one's not too bad. It gets a little soft up here, a little soft around here. You know, the knees a little cocked from the slippage. Sides of the arm aren't too bad. The gun's not terrible. Actually, arm's pretty okay. Front of the gun's all right. His left gun feels a little soft on the front. The right one feels a little bit more sharp on the inside there. And then his side of his arm, his shoulder pads look all right. Side of arms looks okay. So part of the torso is good, arms are good, part of the legs are good, part of the legs are bad. Back of the model looks pretty good. Top of that rocket pod is complete trash, which sucks because I'm a big fan of the Thunderbolt. So let's go ahead and check out the Kraken, the Bane. Usable in the clan evasion through the Ill Clan. We come in at 69 points. Team M1, 6 move. 888 for damage, holy shit. 15 total life, so 10 armor, 5 structure. Case, IF7, LRM7, holy crap, dude. Yeah, and he's his missile boat, that makes sense. So flip that over. Coming in at 14 points less, usable in the Ill Clan and the Dark Age only. Team M1, 6 move, 555 for damage, a sniper. Also got 10 armor, 5 structure. Case 2, ECM, IF1, LRM, and OV long. So the OVL is nice. My issue with these, all right, so if you're running a missile boat and you're trying to IF7, you have all of this armor and structure that you aren't sharing with your team. So I've covered this in some videos before about armor sharing. You can't shoot what you can't see, right? So if you have him on the table and he's hiding behind a building, sitting stationary, IF7ing every turn, and he's 70 points out of, let's say, your 300, yeah, that's a big chunk, right? And then the rest of your army's out there. He's never getting shot at, which means he's not dying, but it also means that you're choosing some of what your opponent is firing at by what you present. So sometimes having big guys like this present shots means that they can take a few more hits than the small ones, and you make your opponent choose what's easier to hit, and maybe they go after him instead. And then if he takes a few hits in a turn, doesn't go down, then maybe he retreats back and he hides. I just don't like investing all those points in a guy who's never going to be seen, because this armor stat, if let's say he's able to hide most of the game and he never gets hit, why even have 10 armor and 5 structure, right? You're paying the points for it, you're not using him, he's not helping the team, you're not taking hits. So at that point, it's like, well, if you're playing a video game, right, and you were intended for him to sit back and never get shot, you would strip armor and put in more guns, right, and more ammo, so you could just sit back and fire. If he's never intended to be getting hit, you would do that. On this card, you're paying for these points, make sure you're also leveraging that too. So something to consider. Which is why, like, the one that's 14 points cheaper, maybe him sitting back makes more sense, and he's going to be a sniper, not a missile boat. So, yeah. I'm not as big a fan of some of the assaults, so it's not my forte. I prefer mediums and heavies. But here's our mini. This is a new model here. A lot of these, I don't even want to say resculpts. It's not. That doesn't feel fair. They're not reposes. They are resculpts, and we'll check the Marauder last. But I like this one. The rocket pods here, pretty sharp. He is most definitely a missile boat. Actually, is this we already have a Kraken, don't we? We got another one. I feel like we've got a Kraken. Someone in the comments, let me know. I think we've got a Kraken already. I can't remember what box that was in. Wasn't in this one, was it? No, it wasn't. Okay. Yeah, I don't remember which one that is. I feel like we've got one. Remind me. I might be crazy. I may be going crazy, but I feel like there's one with different weapons. I feel like there is. Man, so many models, can't remember. All right, so back to it. Nice and sharp details across the top here. This relative to the Thunderbolt looks really good. Even the underside down here with details you would never see because the overhang are pretty sharp. That's pretty solid. The rear of it's pretty good too. Normally when one side's sharp, the other side is more likely to be soft, and that's not really the case. We have a mold line going across the rear here, and these look like they're like ammo boxes, which is pretty neat. But there's a little slippage. It's sitting off to the side just a little bit. His little booty back here's got nice sharp details too. We've got some subtractive mold lines we're going to have to do here for getting those nubbins off. Side of the legs look pretty sharp at first glance. And even down here on the inside of the leg looks good. That one looks good. Well, I'll retract that. The inner side of the thigh gets a little soft. I'm a little bit more forgiving of that because it's not as visible. So if the softness is on a side that's not as visible, I give it slightly more leeway. Some subtractive stuff's going to go down here. Actually, this is going to be additive mold line removal, and there's a really rough divot here where the mold was. You're going to have to cut that and then use green stuff to fill the hole. That's rough. You can see where it's dipping in. Same over here. And it's rough because it crosses a mold line. There's a little bit of slippage, so the mold line, or the panel line there kind of is shifted. It's the underside though, so there's that. Sides of his rocket pods look pretty sharp and nice. The tops relative to this guy look really good. So if we draw a comparison here, if you look at the sharpness of that one versus that one, if you guys can see that on the camera, it's night and day. Like it's not even close. So this guy's is poopy doop. But the Kraken here looks really good. And then the other side here also looks the same. And then the rear of those rocket pods look good too. So this guy's a honker and looks great. Honestly, that's a solid model. Like, that's one of the better looking ones in the box in terms of molds and mold lines. And let's go ahead and check out that Marauder 2C. This one coming in at 52 points. Ill Clan and Dark Age era only. Team M1, 8 move, a 12J. He's got 664 for damage, OV1. He has got 9 life and 9 armor and 5 structure. E&E and jump strong. So jump strong's not too bad. Effectively giving an assault mech the ability to jump and have TMM3, not too bad. A little bit expensive, but if you're using some of the stuff from ACES, you might be able to offset that jump and make it to where he can still effectively hit. But one of the issues with jump is anytime you're jumping, you're automatically impacting your skill and your ability to hit. So sometimes it can be a wash. I like his damage output though. So let's flip over to this one. This one's coming in at 5 points less. This one's usable in the Jihad through the Ill Clan era. Team M1, 8 move, 12J, 453 for damage, OV1. We have got 7 armor, 5 structure, case, flak, and jump strong. So we still got the jumps. You're giving up 1 point of damage basically to save, 2 points at short, 1 at medium, 1 at long, to save 5 points and effectively shave some if needed to. Well, I don't know. I mean, 5 points for the medium. I think at that point it comes down to, like, they're both skirmishers. Where's your points at? What's your spread at? What are you trying to shave? 5 at medium with OV for 6 isn't bad. 6 at medium with OV for 7 isn't bad. Jump jet strong is really good. Flak is situational. Case is always useful. This guy drops case, but he has E&E, so he's immune to explosion, so it doesn't matter for him. And then he's got the jump strong as well. So I kind of want to lean towards this one if you got the 5 points. Because case is great for not dying, but you still take an extra crit when you get hit with an ammo explosion. Even though you ignore it, you take an extra roll. This one just outright ignores it from E&E, so I kind of want to give him the edge. Let's go ahead and check out our mini here. All right, so the torso here. So we've got more of that brown crap, whatever that is. I do not know. Okay. So back to the torso. Cockpit area looks pretty decent. Got a gnarly mold line going across the side here. One going across the side there. Kind of across the mold line, or the panel lines on the side of them. It's rough. Top of the gun looks pretty decent. Front of that gun looks decent. Panel lines are nice and sharp. These little, like, engine looking things are pretty sharp. That's unfortunate. There's a mold line going across the edge of that. It gets a little soft right through here. Not great. It looks a little bit better on this one than this one, I think. Yeah, and you lose a little bit of the detail right in here. It just gets goopy. And this one's a little smidge better. The rear gets a little soft down here. The jump jets look pretty solid. Mold line going across the back parts here is standard fare. It's annoying going across those panels. But at least you're not looking at the rear as much. Side of the legs here, pretty nice and sharp. Good fidelity. Rear of the legs, a little soft, but not too bad. Soft right in here on that leg. This leg also sharp, pretty good, pretty good. Side of his arm and his gun here, pretty solid. Front of the barrel tip's pretty good. Inside of the gun, pretty good as well. And then this arm looks to be equally as sharp. So not too bad. It looks like I think the two largest models in the box probably have the best fidelity on them, with the Kraken being pretty good for CGL standards. So not too bad. So yeah, that's a look at the minis, and we'll go back through. So we've got our two Hover Bros that we checked out. We have got our Locust 2C. We have got our Thor, which is pretty nice. We have got our Baboon. We have got our Rifleman. Boop. We've got our Thunderbolts with the abysmal rocket pod, unfortunately. We have got our Kraken, or Bane. And then we have got our Marauder 2C. So one of the things that might be worth mentioning here is how many of these had Omni. So we got one. Yeah, so if you were cruising into combat, if you're using that battle armor out of here, only one of them could potentially carry it, which honestly for ACES might make sense because it might be a harder mechanic to actually try and get to function with the ACES deck. So, but that said, aside from the disappointment on some of the sculpts and mold lines, especially on that Thunderbolt, I think it's a solid product. I think that the ability to have something that can have effective like a GM or a cooperative play where both players are having a fun experience is solid, and I hope we get more stuff like this. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this breakdown of the contents of this box, and we'll hit that like and subscribe button. If there's something about it that you were curious about that I didn't cover, or things that you just want to talk about, jump in the comments section and let me know. Hopefully we'll get some more content out later. Like I said, I'll try and get through the rules on this and then do a follow-up video where we talk about how the game is played and my thoughts on the rules, and maybe get some of the campaign stuff going. But that was outside of the purview of this video. This video is already going to be running long enough where I'm just breaking down the components. I think this is one of the better products they have released in a long time. The issues that I have with the models is nothing new here. I'm just being critical because it's what we do for the cost of what we're paying per mini at this point. We're approaching GW stuff. When you're comparing to like their Titanicus or Epic stuff, you can get some of the vehicles in particular as a comparison. You're getting hard plastics and quantities for similar prices to these. So that's kind of where we are in the state of things. I hope to see Battletech continuing to grow and ACES to start getting some more support and content. So, and there you have it, folks. That's my quick, I'll say quick, my first look and impressions at the Battletech ACES box set. I think this is a great value. I think the minis look mostly okay compared to what we're used to from Catalyst, but I think this as a product is really good. We've got plenty of 1v1 competitive games. We don't have a lot of cooperative stuff or things where both players can both win together and lose together and share an experience, and I think this is going to bring that to the table, and that is a really good feature to have. Hopefully we're going to get more boxes like this, more supplemental products, more card packs and things like that, and I really hope that this starts to excel because, again, I think this is a product that the community direly needs. There's plenty of games at Warhammer 40K, for example, that are super competitive and kind of lose themselves in terms of that immersion, that lore. They don't really offer that anymore, and this is a way for players to enjoy a universe and not be so caught up in the winning and losing that they forget the backdrop, which is what matters. So that said, if you guys enjoyed this, please sign up in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And as always, keep painting your models, keep rolling your dice, and I will catch you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching and being here with me today. I pour a lot of time and passion into every video, and I genuinely hope it adds something to your hobby experience. If you've enjoyed today's content and want to see more, consider supporting me over on Patreon. Every little bit of support helps fuel what I'm doing here, and it truly makes a difference. Whether it's a few dollars or simply sharing the channel with others, your support means the world to me and allows me to keep doing what I love and hopefully inspiring you along the way. A huge thank you as well to all my sponsors, Monument Hobbies, Fortress Miniatures and Games, Baron of Dice, and Deathor Designs as well. Their backing is vital to the channel, and if you're in the market for top quality paints, miniatures, dice, or terrain, please check out their links below. Not only will you be picking up some great products, but you'll also be supporting this growing community we share together. Thank you so much for watching, and for your time, and for being a part of this journey with me. As I sign off today, let's go ahead and highlight some awesome patrons who are helping fuel this journey we're on together and helping keep things going.